Are you going round and round in circles trying to fix your lower back pain, doing the same things and not getting any results? Well, 9 out of 10 people are doing this sort of thing. They're doing the knee hugs, they're doing the child's pose, and it's not working. Why? Because they're not addressing the cause of the problem. You know instinctively that the things that you're doing are just not working, and you're constantly looking online to, why is this? What causes this kind of back pain? What causes glute pain associated with back pain? What causes sciatica? And it's all very, very simple, but it's overlooked so much. And part of that is because you haven't just been taught what actually causes a back pain and why there can be two different people with the same fundamental injury, let's say an L4-5 disc bulge, and they're getting different symptoms. One's getting lower back pain here, the other's getting no back pain at all, and they're getting it in the hips. And should we really be addressing those things differently? No, because the problem with back pain is that the symptoms can vary, but the cause can be the same. So if we're addressing the cause, then we're going to get lasting results. Now, in this video, we're going to try and give you guys a bit of an understanding of the cause so you can stop making those same mistakes and so you can start doing the right things effectively. So we're going to go through it step by step to really help you. And hopefully you find this really, really helpful and maybe a bit of a light bulb moment in your back pain recovery process. So first and foremost, what is the role of the lumbar spine? The lumbar spine's role is to weight bear, and it should have a nice, smooth, lordotic backward bending curve. And the reason for this is so it's nice and braced. We've got strong muscles on the back here that act as almost like a bowstring, and then we've got the wooden bow part here. The discs on the front in between the vertebral bodies are designed to take around about 70% of the body weight in that neutral position, and the little facet joints on the back here are designed to take about 15 each. That is the nice, strong weight-bearing position. The big problem that we have is most of us on a daily basis, we're sat down at home, we're sat in the car on the way to work or on the train, we're then sat in work for long periods of time, and we're not in this position. We're in this position. And slowly over time, that position starts to change, that standing neutral position starts to change, and we end up getting stretched out ligaments in the middle here and stretched out muscles. Think about it. If you're trying to do anything, trying to brace for any load, we brace in. We don't brace out and open up because that puts us off balance. Yet we're doing that to our lumbar spine without us knowing. And that's why the majority of lumbar spine injuries that set in motion things like sciatica, etc., are from minor activities. It's taking the shopping bags out of the car. It might be putting the child in the car seat. It might be putting the socks on in the morning. It's all of these really seemingly insignificant activities, maybe even brushing your teeth first thing in the morning. It's not doing a 200 kilo deadlift or a 1500 kilo squat or something crazy that's happened, or a piece of equipment at work has fallen on you or something like that. It's often these very minor injuries because the repetitive actions stressing our structure puts us at a vulnerable position. And then what happens when it goes? It's nearly always, think about it, it's nearly always flexion, forward bending. Those activities that I mentioned, the shopping, the socks, etc., it's all forward bending, putting more load through here. And what happens at this moment? What is happening is the structures are being stretched and injured. Maybe it's the disc and the ligaments at the back that hold the jam of the donut, so to speak, the central fluid part of the disc in place. They stretch and open, and then that fluid pokes out towards the back in the case of a disc bulge. Think about it like your trousers. If you bend over and your trousers rip open, do you really then think about fixing them by pulling them open more? Yet that's what 9 out of 10 of you guys are doing when you're trying to fix your back pain. You bend over and then you get told to do more bending over, more rounding of your back, and it just doesn't make sense. More pulling your knees towards your chest, more crouching into that child's pose. That's like pulling those trousers apart even further, and often you're advised this as the first port of call to do because supposedly it relieves the pain, and that's just a failure to understand mechanics from people that really just don't fully understand this lumbar spine and how it works and how it fails, and are looking for a quick 5-minute feeling that's going to make you feel good because that's going to get likes on YouTube rather than something that's going to solve the problem properly. And unfortunately, solving these sorts of injuries takes a little bit of time, it takes a little bit of work. And in a lot of cases, it takes undoing some of those bad habits you've had over the years, but that works. Now, why is it that back pain is so different in different people? Why maybe even your back pain has changed? Maybe it was in the back, then it's in the hip, then it's in the leg, then it's back in the back again. And that's all because of what's happening in this area here. When we injure something in this region, unlike other parts of the body, we end up getting inflammation building up in these confined spaces. The spine is very unique in this regard. And what we have is we have a bunch of little holes which are bounded by bony margins. It's not like your ankle or your wrist. When it swells up and is injured, there's just loads of space for it to just balloon. Well, imagine that happening in this confined space. And then it irritates the nerves. And these nerves, some of the ones at the very bottom here, they go on to join what's called the sciatic nerve. So we can get any sort of symptoms along any part of that sciatic nerve, or all of it or none of it. It could not be that it affects that specific nerve at that specific time, but we could get muscle spasm, we could get muscle wasting, the muscles don't work properly, we could get tingling, we could get burning, we could get numbness, we could get some of those at certain times, but it's all coming from the same part. And one of the errors that people make is they start chasing those symptoms down in the limb, and that leads to trouble. Now, what we need to do is focus on stability. Because what was it that failed in this first instance? It failed because it moved erroneously during a movement. It exposed some structures that were maybe already a little bit weaker, and then the injury was done, or the significant step forward in that injury was done. What we instead need to do is learn to stabilize and control our spine. And this is done by activating those midsection muscles, those core set of muscles, not doing sit-ups, because that's more rounding and it's not actually targeting the right muscles, but it's activating these muscles here to maintain a neutral spine. So when you next go to bend over in the future, your spine bends like so, rather than buckling at that injured segment and focusing even more stress and strain to that already injured, trying to recover segment. And that's very important. We also think about other stretches. Sure, doing a hamstring stretch is going to be okay if we're doing it correctly, but most of the time we just bend forwards at the torso, round our lower back to get a hamstring stretch, making this worse, even though actually freeing up the hips can be a really good thing if you understand why and how to use it. But in many cases, freeing up the hips is a temporary thing in those early days and becomes a bit more effective later on. So if there's one thing you can take away from this video, it is that working to provide stability back towards this lumbar spine is an essential, and you need something that's going to support you doing that in the process. That's why we have the Back in Shape program, and we have all of our members in our program working together to make change, start to learn from each other's mistakes, get that expert guidance along the way, and have a program that actually adheres to a principled approach, a phased approach that takes you from not being able to do anything at all, being stuck maybe between the bed and the sofa, back and forwards every day, to being able to go out and do the things you love again, because you've built up support, built up stability first to protect this area. And then those little instances where you turn around and it goes, because everything's so wobbly, start to happen less and less. If you want to learn more about the Back in Shape program, you can click a link underneath this video and learn more about everything it has to offer. Not just the program itself, but the incredible support that's there from our team to help you through the way. Naturally, you're going to have questions. It's about learning about your body, understanding the cause, and that doesn't happen in one video or two. It can take a little bit of time, but if you put that time in, you will get the results that you deserve. We look forward to seeing you very soon. Click the link under here, and we will see you soon in the Back in Shape program.